Hey Queen, I'm Faith Alaribe, the founder and host of the Sister Circle podcast. Around here, we have honest and real conversations about our health, mental health, and wellness, topics that deeply impact our lives as women of color, and all with the mission to provide the information, tools, and resources to fill up our wellness toolkits, make informed decisions, and to allow us to thrive in every area of our lives. So get ready to be enlightened, informed, and inspired. And go ahead and get comfortable, Queen. Consider this your official welcome to the Sister Circle. Hey, y'all. So in today's episode, we're touching on a topic that I feel that we certainly don't talk enough about anymore. And that's STDs, or now STIs. And back in the day, I felt like everywhere I turned, there was marketing around STDs, safe sex, condoms, this and that. And now it's radio silent. But just because we don't hear about it as much doesn't mean that it's gone away or that the numbers are improving. In fact, they're increasing. Syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea have surged for the 5th year, according to newly released statistics on STDs from the CDC. And what about as it relates to herpes? According to the CDC, more than 1 in 6 people have genital herpes, which is caused by herpes simplex virus 2. And per Johns Hopkins Medicine, between 50 to 80% of people have oral herpes, which is caused by herpes simplex virus type 1, which can lead to genital herpes through oral sex. Nevertheless, several months ago, I ran across this article in Essence magazine about the truth about dating with herpes, a women's tell-all. And essentially, it chronicled the stories of 4 women who talked about what it was like dating with herpes. I actually discovered today's guest, Belize, from reading the article. So in it, she stated that learning to live with herpes forced her to do a lot of self-reflection when it came to her dating habits. She discovered that she had an unhealthy relationship with sex and was using it to cope with low self-esteem and to feel better about herself. And contracting herpes made her reevaluate her reasons for sexual activity and do the inner work necessary to move forward. And once she was able to do that, she learned that there was, in fact, life after herpes. I think that it's particularly important to bring awareness to this topic because there's a lot of shame when it comes to STDs. And I can only imagine what it's like dating, or even as someone who may be returning to the dating scene, maybe after a long-term relationship or even a marriage, and how that might feel. Nevertheless, today's episode is going to leave you aware, educated, and even doubling over with laughter. I'm so grateful for Belize Spivey, aka the STD coach, for sharing her story, as well as some awesome tips and resources for women living with herpes, and even those who aren't. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, I got my new homegirl, Belize Spivey, with me today, y'all. She's going to be sharing her incredible story and then talking about her incredible work that she does. So listen, I don't want to, spill all the beans in the beginning. Belize, tell us who you are, what you do.
All right, so I am Belize Spivey. I am known as the STD life coach. Yes, STI. Yes, that's what I said. I'm not just, you're not hearing it right. You can hear real clear. Yes, that's what I do. I ain't never heard of it before because you ain't met me. That's just that simple. You just haven't met me. And today you will. So I do this because I found I had herpes. That's who I help. I don't help, I talk to other people, special HIV and things like that, but I'm a strong believer that people who made the most impact is somebody who got it. It's great. I love my educators, sexual educators, my OBGYNs. I love them all. We need them all. But I'm telling you, they don't have the effect that a person who had it do. They don't even understand all of it because they don't have it. So I say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, but I'm going to explain to y'all why. So I was in college. I went to Auburn University. I transferred into Auburn. That was my dream school, but I couldn't walk through the front doors. So I had to come through the back. Okay. Listen, that's how you get into your dream schools. You transfer in, do first good the first year, and transfer in, y'all. Tell the babies that they ain't got to.
That's a good tactic, for real.
Yes, go to community college for free and then turn around and go through the back door because they're going to let you. So that's what I did. I went to Tuskegee. I was so excited. I went to a historically Black school, one of the ones that, if you think about herpes, you think of something like You think of a syphilis in a sense, like so that happened, and I was able to experience like all the history. So I went there, transferring to Auburn. While I was there, my second semester, I met a guy. What we do in college, if you ever been to college or even high school, you meet somebody. So we hit it off, and we having a good time, and we decided to hang out one night. So I was okay, I don't talk to you long enough to see if we can, get to know each other. Both a little intoxicated. That's what you do in college. If you think a kid not doing that, you'll lie to yourself. Okay, they are turning up. Okay. All the way up, especially if they're a freshman. I mean, the turn up is all the way real. Okay. So literally we had a night, we end up having sex. Okay. He had performed, we both performed oral sex. As we know, most of us don't consider using protection. Okay. Gonna give you information in the middle of this, so just follow me. If you use protection, you got flavored condoms, or you can use a dental dam. Most people don't even know what a dental dam is. It's like a little thin cloth that you put over the woman's genitals, and you can still feel it. It still feels like you licking on them. Okay. Those are not easy to find. You typically have to get them from your health department, which I don't even know if you can find them. I just went to a health department. It wasn't there. But health department, or order them on Amazon, or you can go to a sex store. So as we know, we typically don't use them. So then we didn't do that, but we used a condom. I'm like, I'm good. He good. Nothing. I'm thinking we ain't gonna have I'm gonna say this. Nobody's gonna have sex if they have symptoms. I'm gonna say that, knowing symptoms. Most people can deal with an itch or a burn, but it's temporary. It got to be something that really like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. So I don't want anybody to believe that a person will know if they have herpes or any other STI, because sometimes it's so mild that it's brushed off. Even OBGYNs will brush stuff under the rug because it's like, oh, you got to use infection. Oh, you got to get bacteria infection. Oh, it's nothing. You got a hair bump. They just brush it off. So I want to say that because so many people believe that you will know. Nothing was happening. Nothing was happening to him. Had sex, got up the next morning. I started to be in pain. So I was like, I'm in so much pain. I guess it's just because he's a little bit bigger than my last partner. That's what most women think, or maybe position or just friction. That tends to happen with condoms. Make sure you're using lube and things like that. So I got up, I started on my day, and I went home, and I was like, the pain was starting to increase as I walked.
So when you say like pain, like, was it a burning, like, or was it just feeling like you said, it was just like you was getting it in too rough? Like, what?
That's how I felt. If woman, you get that, you can get that little tear at the bottom sometimes, or just you can feel irritation. Sometimes you can have some people, you can feel a little itchy just because y'all body chemistry didn't match. So first it just felt like a uncomfortable, like, oh, okay, we were just, just friction. I was like, I don't felt this before, I'm not tripping. But as I continue to walk, I was like, nah, bro, I'm like, the pain is increasing. I was like, nah, pulsating at this point. I'm looking like, I'm hurting real bad.
So what'd you do after that?
So I got home and did what my mama always tell you, look at your vagina. Like, my vagina, I took the mirror that my mama said, because my mama made sure I took a little hand mirror with her. She said, always look at it, baby. Make sure you know what it looked like, right? Well, she didn't say it in that tone. My mama's funny, but she said that, right? So I looked and I had blisters on my vagina.
Almost like overnight?
That's the thing. It wasn't even overnight. Okay. And I'll go into that more, but that's what I experienced. I like to tell my story because people don't think stuff, it seems like it pops up overnight, but we know how STIs work. Nothing's overnight. Nothing happens. I don't care even with a bacteria. It got a linger time. It got a cycle time. And a lot of people think, even with a virus, we know with COVID now, 2 to 14 days. If everything takes at least 2 to 14 days for it to show up, it may or it may not. Or if it do, it may be major, or it may be just real mild that you brush off. So, but that was my experience. We had sex that night. Literally, I woke up that morning, I had blisters all on my vagina. Now, like I said, I had nothing prior to having sex with him. Nothing at all.
So what did you do? So you look down there, you're like, what the?
I bust out in tears. It's herpes. I don't even know what herpes was, but I just knew that's what it was. One thing I will tell you, anybody who's watching this, your gut don't lie. It tells you stuff that you don't even know. I can speak on it. I know people who had cancer. They knew it was cancer. They didn't know what type, but they knew. Like, the spirit always warns you prior. It's never going to let you go anything unaware of anything. It all wants to prep your mind for what if you ignore it, that's your fault. But it's always going to tell you. So it told me it's herpes. I'm like, no, it's not. No, you're lying. You're just trying to freak me out. The enemy is after me. And I was like, the enemy is not after. I'm sick. Okay, you always trying to put it on the devil. The devil is not your friend. He gonna tell you crap. Okay. So I ended up calling. First thing I had to do, I had to calm down because I was freaking. I ended up calling a close friend at the time. Me and her were best friends, and me and her was roommates prior to that. She had just HIV and she was only 18. So she was right. So I called the only person I knew who would understand, because when she found out her diagnosis, I was right there. Literally, we went to get tested together and she found out. I seen her literally get so sick. I thought she had the flu. I watched it all, and I watched her as she went through the process. She was so depressed. It was so bad. But I watched the whole thing. I was in so I called the one person I know who, if I supported her, she gonna support me back. So she was in nursing school. She decided to go to become a nurse after that. And she's like, well, Belize, we just talked about it in class. And based off what you're telling me, it sounds like you have herpes. She said, go ahead and go to the OBGYN so you can get some medicine and, get your stuff confirmed. I was like, no. She was like, you watch me go through this. It's not easy, but you're going to be okay. She said, call me. She said, if you need me to walk, talk to you the whole time you're there, then call me back and I will ride, like literally be on the phone with you all the way through, which she did. She kept her word, even from the time they told her after. Because I did the same thing. I literally seen her walk out the room. Like, I remember she went in and it was like, oh, we need to talk to her. So I didn't think nothing of it. And she came out of the building and her face was like blank. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, she couldn't talk. She was just stunned.
At 18.
At 18. First away from home for real. Like in another state. Thank God I was with her. You know what I mean? I'm happy college together, because she was gonna go to Georgia State and I wanted to go to Auburn really, but we end up still going to our dream schools because we both transfer out. God had a reason. He's like, I need y'all together in this season because she needs somebody who gets her. We have been friends since elementary school, so it's like it was best to be with somebody who wasn't going to judge her for it. And it's funny because she had been doing HIV advocacy since she was a child. She was set up. You hear me? She still do it to this day. She was set up. I want to say this, and this is a side note. Don't think that your struggles are not a setup.
Say that one more time, Belize.
Don't think your struggles are not a setup. Whatever you experience is for a reason. If it was molestation, if you was in sex trafficking, if you was in an abusive relationship, everything's a setup. And he was like, Belize, you're telling me that he allowed that to happen? Do you want me to tell you the truth or you want me to lie to you? Yeah. Because he knew you can come out of it. Now, some stuff you could have prevented, but every time God gets the ability to use you to help somebody.
Right on. And hope I pray that God be able to use you on today. So
yeah.
So Belize, so you call your homegirl, she tells you to go to the OB-GYN, and then what happens?
So before I went, I ended up reaching out to him. Okay. So I texted him and I was like, hey, when the last time you get tested? Ladies, don't ever do this. Don't have sex with somebody and then ask the questions later. You backwards. Okay. So he freaked out, like, I've been tested recently, which we know guys lie. Nothing's recent with men. Okay. Never. Never. Okay. He say 30 minutes. He means an hour. Okay. It's just, they 30 minutes to 3 days behind. But anyway, so I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm having blisters. I said, I'm not blaming you. Because my whole thing, I never blame nobody because you don't know if it was you. Don't ever go in assuming because you don't know. So I was like, I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you this what I'm saying. He was so cool. He was like, it's all right. Are you okay? I said, no, I'm in a lot of pain. He was like, it's all right. I'm here for you. I'm in class right now, but let me know. It's crazy. Who about to go to class? Why get onto the transit and he gets on the same transit? So he's sitting in the front, I'm sitting in the back. And we're just like, I wasn't expecting him to sit with me. I'm like, bro, I'm not even emotionally stable. And then like when he walked off, he's like, just let me know. And I was like, okay. But he kept checking on me. Like I went to the OBGYN. I went in there. I could not see the OBGYN right away because the doctor was not there. So I had to go through a whole weekend. Now, I'll tell you this one thing, like, because something happened, so she couldn't be there. Always, if something happened going on, you have major symptoms, tell your nurse what's happening, and they will do it. Somebody in there will do it. But sometimes I was so scared to say what I was experiencing. And they're like, well, Miss Bobby, what are you experiencing? I was like, well, I got a little pain. I made it seem like it was nothing. So they were like, well, okay, well, we'll see you Monday. I wish I would have just broke down the tears and like, oh, I'm dying. Because they right away, but I was just so ashamed to say anything. So I had to go through a whole weekend, got to Monday when I say it was the worst 3 days of my life. I don't even have enemies, but if I had one, I swear to God, I wouldn't put it on me. I'm like, putting you through that because It was just that painful. And I will tell you, no, everybody outbreaks is not like that. So I don't even want that to be it's not a scare tactic. It's just my experience. Because it don't hurt at all. It's just like, it's just there. I know it's there. So it's irritating. So I got through the weekend, got tested. It was a bad experience because the white lady was mean to me. I think she was just having a bad day.
She was mean to you? What you mean?
Yeah, now that I'm older and I'm an adult, sometimes as adults, we don't leave our stuff at the door. You know what I mean? But it could have been something personal going on with her. And she literally just didn't have time for any of my tears. Like, she didn't have any time for any sympathy because she didn't have none. So she looked at me, Miss Bobby, take your clothes on, I'll be right back. So I took my clothes off. I was on the phone with a friend. Took my clothes off. The lady came in the room. She said, okay, sit on the thing and, open your legs. And I was like, and she was like, yeah, that looks like herpes. And I'm crying. She's like, well, I'm going to have to take a culture. That is the devil. You hear me?
So when she took a culture, what did she do?
She takes a
what is it, like that Q-tip looking thing?
Yeah, that thing hurts. Even when they do your pap smear, you can feel it. You're like, ugh, that thing is hurt. But she had to break the skin because it started to heal. So she literally had to open it back up. I was screaming. I will tell you, if you have any symptoms for anything, go right away because it's the best. Then when it started to heal, they have to reopen the wound. And you don't want to have to reopen your wound because it takes it longer to heal. So she's like, let me go look under the microscope and I'll tell you, but I'm sure, looking at it for sure, I believe that's what it is. Get back on the phone, put your clothes on, go to the other room. Go to the other room. She comes in there with a pamphlet. Miss Bobby has herpes. It's not that big of a deal. Everybody has it. You'll be okay. Do you want to talk to the OBGYN? I said, yeah. She's like, well, okay, I'll schedule for her to come talk to her later this week. I said, okay.
Wait. So she said that everybody has it?
Yep. She's like, everybody has it. It's no big deal.
Oh, okay. So I want to like, you got to expand on that a little bit. What you mean everybody has it? Is that factual?
80% of people have herpes simplex virus. I like to say herpes simplex virus because many people think about chickenpox and also shingles. It's also another form of herpes or smallpox. It all kind of go under the same umbrella. So a lot of people like to say everybody got it because at the end of the day, everybody has some form of the virus, herpes, not herpes simplex. Herpes simplex virus is the only virus that affects the genitals, though.
Okay. So let's finish your story. And then I want you to talk a little bit more about what exactly herpes is. So She says that you can talk to the doctor in a couple of days. So you go back in a couple of days. What happens?
Go in a couple of days, a little white lady come in there, just a jolly. I'm looking at all the stuff on her. I swear, I feel like she sat me in the middle of the room. She didn't sit me at a desk. She sat me in the middle of the room with two chairs, her here and me here. We was in a smack dab in the middle of the room. It felt so awkward. So I'm sitting there and she's like, she'll be right in. So little white lady, as cute as she can be. Hey, Miss Bobby, how are you? I'm looking at her like, I know this is hard. I know you're having a hard time, but I'll let you know so many people who have it. You're not by yourself. You can get through this. I'm going to make sure I make your prescription for antivirals, which is Valtrex or Cyclovir. I think they gave me Valtrex, which I tell anybody, just keep Valtrex. Cyclovir is trash. It doesn't work. It works too slow. So she was like, do you have a question? And I was like, I couldn't think. And she was like, well, if you need anything, I'm here for you. You're going to be okay. And I'm looking at her like, you're white, I'm black. I'm at a white school. Have you realized that it's not many of us here? I'm culture shock right now. I don't know. I ain't never had a white doctor up to that point, for real. Like most of my mom made sure I go to black OBGYN dentist. All of it was black. I black school. Like I didn't know anything. The only thing closer to white was my Asian, and I believe they black too. They right there at the cuff. So with that being said, I didn't know white. I had white teachers. That's other than that, middle school. Middle school and high school. But outside of that, not treating me. I never experienced. So it was just like.
So it was uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. I was already in a culture shock because I don't know anybody here. Everybody white that I'm walking around. I don't even know how they talk. I don't know how they move. This is weird.
Gotcha. So you meet with her, you're feeling uncomfortable, and so you leave there, and then what?
So I leave there, she gave me a prescription. Well, I ran out of there and forgot the prescription. So I went downstairs and had to go back upstairs to get the prescription. Get the prescription. I felt nervous because, when you go to college, everywhere, every area a student works because they're getting training, especially in the pharmacy and things like. Now the clinic, they didn't have children at all in the clinic, but in the pharmacy or in the front office or whatever, it's because they're getting training. They're nursing assistants or nurses or want to be doctors. It's best to be in the field. So I was feeling some type of way. I was like, I don't know them, but I don't want them seeing my medicine. Now they didn't judge me. They was like, here you go. He was like, do you have any questions? Are you okay? Things like that. So the respect was there. But still I was like, give me goddamn medicine so I can go, because I can't swallow pills now. At this point in my life, I could not swallow a pill.
Was it like, is it a big pill or was it small?
It's a horse pill, girl. That thing is huge. It don't change over time. It's still big, but it's not as big as it used to be. That sucker used to be, like our multivitamins back in the day, it was like that. And it's chalky, so it's like, you can't even get it down. It was just a horrible experience. So I ended up getting the medicine. Thank God my mom had good insurance. So I ended up getting the medicine. And I went home and I just laid in the bed. I told him and he was like, well, I'm gonna make sure I get tested and things like that, and I'll let you know. And he checked in with me like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not good. Oh, I'm here, So he didn't neglect me. I didn't experience that. He didn't neglect me. He didn't push me to the side. I just kind of just like stopped talking to him, truthfully. I was like, I ain't got nothing to talk about, bro. Like, I'm good. I'm so good over here. I just don't even want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with people.
So tell me this, and I'm, you don't have to answer the question, but so the night you guys had sex, right? Did you see his penis?
I didn't. But the funny part about it, I like that you say that, because at the end of the day, his penis was covered with a condom. But as we know, herpes is not fully, it's passed through skin to skin contact. So I could have got it if it was in his pubics, because most of the men I talk to, it'd be in their pubic hairs. Ladies, are you seeking through pubic hairs? No.
Wait, what do you mean?
Herpes can be in your pubic area, under your pubic hairs. It can be right there and you don't know it.
Oh, so okay. So so say for example, I guess the shaft of the penis, right? So even if you don't see it on the shaft, it can still be in that pubic hair area. It can be in the pubic hairs, it can be on his and then so when you guys are having sex, even with the condom, it's still touching.
It's still touching. So that's why I want people to realize, like, condoms are vital. Don't stop using condoms. Please use them. But remember, between herpes, syphilis, HPV, you can still get it. Because it's contact. So, as much as we have been learning, especially I love my sexual educators, but they're really, really not doing us a service, because they're not explaining all ways to still get it. Because if you tell me if I use a condom, I'm good, and then I go to the doctor and I get something, now I'm pissed at you because I trusted you to tell me all the information, and you failed to tell me that. Because I'm thinking we good protection, we good. I ain't got nothing to worry about. And I'm like, I ain't seen nothing on his mouth, or I don't think he got nothing in his mouth, so I'm good. Which herpes, as we know, cold sores and fever is herpes. So many people don't want to hear that, because like, I got it as a child. I said, that's okay, baby. Your mama kissed you. Or you drunk after your cousin, it was contagious. You didn't know. I want to say this: herpes is not an STI. Herpes is just herpes, because it's passed through skin to skin. The only reason why they consider it STI because it's genital. That's it.
Tell me a little bit. So give me an overview, like what exactly is herpes, right? Are there different types? And kind of break that down for me.
Okay, so herpes simplex virus is chicken pox that affects your vagina and your penis. Like, literally, that's the simplest terms, because I'm not gonna get scientific. I don't like doing that to people. We get that enough happening to us with COVID, I don't know what to talk about. But it's really just something, if you understand chickenpox, you understand herpes. The same way that you can have chickenpox and pass it and you don't know it, it's the same way that herpes, they function just the same.
Interesting. So it's funny that you say that. Maybe about 2 weeks ago, one of my best friends, so her son is like 9 now, right? And she was like, girl, I'm wondering when is he gonna get the chicken pox? Because back in the day, one person get the chicken pox and then everybody, the cousins and everybody like, y'all all just need to get it at the same time, right? To get it over with.
Each other on purpose.
Yep. And so her mom was like, she was like, what you mean, girl? She was like, kids don't get chicken pox anymore because there's a vaccine for it. Yeah. So interesting, but the same form, right? Like as far as like, because chickenpox, it can lay dormant in your system.
Yes, and it comes back shingles.
Correct. So, okay. So it's kind of like, the chickenpox. And so you can pass it without knowing. And in terms of like the different types, right? So you can get it in your genitals and you can also have it in your mouth, right?
You can have it everywhere. You can have herpes anywhere. Herpes is just like chickenpox. It's just the only reason herpes simplex virus is just really saying that it's only for the genitals. When we really start looking at science and how they do things, they like to kind of classify things based off where it affects things. So chickenpox and shingles is more a skin condition. Could it only affect skin? It doesn't affect genitals. So herpes simplex virus affect the genitals.
Gotcha. So how can you tell if, like say for example, if, somebody's about to have sex, they pull out their penis, or they open up, they see their vagina, right? And maybe does it look like an ingrown hair? You know how you can get a bump or something, or does it look different? I'm just wondering, like, how can you tell the difference?
You can't. Everybody looks different. That's a game changer. See, this is the thing about herpes. Herpes is not something that's classified as understandable. Because, like if you think about bacteria, or even let's use HIV because I know that's your field. HIV, y'all know it like a T. Because y'all able to say, okay, looking at your numbers, this is type of symptoms, things like, even though the symptoms can change person to person, how the medicine can affect the person, it may change a little bit, but everything is pretty much, herpes not like that. And since it's not like that, it's a learning curve. So for me, I had blisters, okay? The first outbreak, I had multiple blisters. My next outbreak, it was only 1 or 2. Now, I had it for so long, I only get 1.
And so with that, so how often do people usually get like outbreaks?
It depends on the person. See, today y'all gonna understand it's all depend upon you. It's all how your body responds, okay? Because my body, I'm gonna speak for myself. I get at least 4 a year. Now, last year with COVID, I had them back to back for me because I was just so stressed trying to figure out. It was just so much stress, and I'll explain the symptoms in a minute. I mean, the triggers in a minute. But I was so stressed, I had more than normal, and I was pissed. I was like, "This is a bull crap." But I understand why, because I'm like, my kids going back to school. COVID is kicking up too high. Literally, I had COVID before COVID came. So I was like, darn, we don't just swoop. Me and my mama lives. And my son had it. We didn't know what it was. But literally that January, I had COVID. I was in bed for 2 weeks. I couldn't breathe. 2 weeks before that, 2 weeks before that, my son had it. My oldest son never got it.
Girl, get out of here.
He didn't get it either. And he slept in the bed with me like after a while. Your grandma say, take all the sheets off and spray stuff down. Woo, that works because he could have got COVID because he laid in the bed rubbing on me and everything and helping me. He didn't get it because I made sure everything was sprayed down. So you'll be surprised what happens where if you're in a relationship, one person having another, keep everything sprayed. You got to have somebody take care of you, like regardless. So I was stressed. So some people can have multiples, or some people can have 1 out of a year. Some people will never have an outbreak. I like to say that because sometimes you'll go and find out your diagnosis. You go get tested, and your doctor may test you for it. Now I'll tell you this: herpes is not included in the STD panel because that they like to test you based off of a culture. They don't like to test you based off blood because the blood tests are going based off antibodies. Every other STI, you can pick up the DNA. Or for you guys, you can pick up, the T cell. You can pick up something that's more solid. Antibodies are not solid. They do this. Because it ain't nothing but your body that you're fighting something. So 1 minute is high and another minute is low. Same way with COVID. We're getting this, but 1 minute is high and 1 minute is low. Some people look like they got COVID forever, but it's like your body's just still trying to fight it. So it's producing antibodies. You negative, but your body is still saying it's still present.
Got it. Okay. So tell me this. So you can't tell, if it's on, the genitals, or the difference between, let's say, an ingrown hair bump versus a herpes, right? But what about like oral herpes? So aside from like just a traditional cold sore on your lip, like, does it look differently?
It can look, it's like that. What you see on their lip, that's herpes.
So tell me this. So say someone has a cold sore and they give you fellatio, or they whatever, right? So can you then catch herpes in your genital?
That's how majority of people have it.
Wait, say that one more time.
That's the reason why majority of people have herpes, because we do not use any protection for oral at all. Most people who have cold sores, I know, Faith, when this, go live and everybody's talking, they're like, I get it, and you're going to hear this argument. I had it all my life. It ain't herpes. Yes, it is. You just didn't know. And I try to have a lot of sympathy for people like that, because they didn't make it known. Number one, they don't want to make it known, because do you want to tell a 4-year-old that they have herpes? That means you're going to start thinking somebody touched your kid. That scares a parent to think somebody molested their child. No, your child has it because you kissed on them and you didn't know it was contagious. Or the kid shared toys and stuff with other kids and they didn't know what it was. Because, some, it can be here, it can be at the corner of your mouth, it can be at the bottom of your mouth. Some people, it gets like on their face. Like you see some kids, you like, why do they face like they got blemishes? Sometimes that's just herpes outbreaks. It just spread because they don't be touching all their face. Their parent didn't realize what it was. You got some people that get it around their nose. It can be in different.
Can it be like on the inside of your mouth?
Yes, it can be on the inside of your mouth, which is kind of hard to determine because you'll think it's a canker sore. And the canker sores are not herpes. Canker sores is bacterial. That's why they say stop putting stuff in your mouth. Stop putting your hands in your mouth. Yeah, but it can inside the mouth. And like I said, if you got something in your mouth, the first thing you think, and it's painful, you're gonna think it's a canker sore. But a canker sore has this like white ring around it. So it's a little bit different. It's real reddish, even on our skin. I had one right here, but I was like, I keep putting crap in my mouth. It was right here, and it was like a little reddish, and it's like a circle, and it's like white around it. And that's like a hurt like crazy. Woo-wee!
Yeah, a canker sore definitely can hurt. So tell me this. So what are like some of the signs of an outbreak?
Okay, so signs of outbreak: itching. Intense itching. Same for ladies. We know what a yeast infection or bacterial vaginosis feel like. It feels just like that. You can have a discharge. Everybody don't have a discharge, but you can have a discharge. But it don't smell like a yeast infection, which is fishy, and it don't smell like bacterial vaginosis, which is stank. It don't smell like that. It just feel like this is something wrong. I'll let you know, like sometimes a yeast infection and a bacterial vaginosis can cover up your outbreak. So if you're consistently trying to get rid of and it's not going away, you need to test yourself for herpes, because you can have herpes inside of your vagina. You can have it on your cervix and you don't know it. Yeah. So a lot of people's having it internal and not external. They don't realize it. So they're getting all this discharge and all that because your body is trying to fight it off. And so you're getting this discharge. So if you go to the OBGYN, they'll tell you don't get discharged. But yeah, you will if you have anything on inside of your vagina. Yes, you will. You got someone, your vagina is a cleaner. She's going to try to clean that sucker out. That's why I say it got this weird smell. It's just like, what is that? You can't really explain it. You're like, But anybody who has yeast infection or bacteria, you know the difference. You know the smells. And you know what it looks like. One is kind of, one is like a grayish type color.
Are they able, like if you were to have herpes, in your cervix or whatever, are they able to see it then?
Yeah, we don't never know what our vagina looked like, even when we had kids, because we went down there looking, other than somebody recorded it, or you looked at somebody else give birth. That sucker get big, and you can see everything. So yeah, when they pull open, they can see if you have like, oh yeah, we can see lesions. They'll tell you, oh, I can see lesions on your cervix. So there's like a swab of it. Kind of go back a little bit, so it'll be itching, discharge. It could be pulsating, like. Sometimes you can feel like these sharp pains in your vagina area or penis or in your anus. You can have herpes in your anus too. So don't think it can't, or on your thighs. You can also have headaches, like especially if you have oral. So you can have headaches, you can have sore throat. Sometimes you get a fever. Like literally, I felt like I had the flu. Because you got to remember, a virus typically shoots your darn. So sometimes you'll think you're just sick and you're not. So you can feel like you have the flu. Sometimes you get aching in your legs, or like when you jump down, you can feel that tingling in your toes and your feet. Feel that as well, because the virus is in the nerve ending. It's not in the skin, it's in the nerves. So it attached to the nerves and it hides in the nerve ending. That's why herpes is really, like, herpes simplex is complicated, because it can hide in the nerves. You don't want it to damage the nerve. And the only thing that triggers it is something pertaining to the nerve. So going into your triggers. So your triggers, number one, stress. Okay. Remember, stress is not just mental. We need to, especially love us, people who have any melanin in your skin. Stress is not mental first. It happens in the body first. Okay. Your mind comes after it realizes, oh, nah, you tripping. Because your body is trying to fight whatever's going on. So if you're not getting sleep, you're working a bunch of hours, going to school, take care of a bunch of kids, got a man, you ain't enough sleep, you're not eating properly. And when I say properly, you're just not having enough fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables in your diet. Nobody telling you can't eat, but you need more of that. You didn't have anything. That other stuff ain't giving you no nutrients. You need fruits and vegetables in your diet. Greeny vegetables, to be very particular, okay? You're dehydrated. I love us. Us and melanin, we don't like water for some odd reason. I don't know why we have a struggle with water, but if you dehydrate your body stress, nothing can get where it needs to go, because it flows through the water. We're 80% water. Is it 80? Is it 80%? I think we're 80%, so you're 70 to 80% water. So without water, your body can't flow. So you need to make sure you're drinking. Then you deal with mental, if you got any mental disorders, okay? Depression is a mental disorder. Anxiety is a mental disorder, okay? Panic attacks is a mental disorder, okay? Suicidal thought, all of that stuff. If you are diagnosed with clinical depression or schizophrenia, bipolar, like all of that stuff, it can affect you and it can cause you to have an outbreak, because your body is trying to fix you. So now when it's trying to fix you, it's on the end of the herb, nigga, you're like, bro, like, hold on now, I'm good. Like, leave me alone. So now you wake it up and it busts out your skin because you're irritated. So stress is number one. All right. Number two is friction. That's messing with your skin. That's messing with your nerves. I do this long enough. I'm warming up my nerves. Like, feel. You're getting warmer. So that's with the nerves. The nerves have to respond when something's happening. Okay, so friction can be one. So that could be just rubbing on the clothes, or even with condoms, or just having sex. That's why I tell anybody, use lube. Every lube is not created equal. So make sure you find a Black company, please, especially for us, because our vaginas are so freaking sensitive. Try to even find somebody that's like vegan, because some of that stuff that's in it, our bodies just don't, that stuff don't work for us, y'all. It just don't. So we
throw off your pH balance and all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Quickly. You mess around, you got a bacteria, vaginosis, quick. So make sure you use a loop. So friction can be one. Menstrual cycle, PCOS, anything dealing with your hormones, ladies. It can cause you to have an outbreak. Wait
a minute. So hormones can affect they can increase or impact your symptoms.
Cause you to have an outbreak because your body's unbalanced at that time. So you can have outbreaks, because I know some ladies who have an outbreak around their menstrual all the time because they're unstable. Their body is just like, ugh, like, I can't fight because I'm focused on one thing, so something else will come up. Like, I know she's not balanced, so I'm trying to make sure her mental stay good, and she's not freaking out over here, and then herpes can show up. It don't happen for everybody. I can say, my menstrual never affected me. That's not even my trigger. Lack of sleep, stress, and friction is my triggers.
So tell me this. So for example, like when women are like either pregnant or postpartum, and you know how there's like a huge influx of hormones, right? Are those times in which you might see an increase or an influx of symptoms?
Yep. You can have more outbreaks around that time. So this is things that we need to know, because so many moms every mom deal with postpartum. It may not be as as bad as others, but every mother experiences. I think that's something we need to get comfortable with saying. Every mother deal with postpartum. Some come out of faster than others. Many women had I learned this with my close friend, that you can have postpartum in your pregnancy.
Oh, yeah. Or you can just experience depression while pregnant. And that actually is more common than people know. Mm-hmm.
Don't talk about it. It's like, oh, the baby's coming. Like, I hate this kid and I hate myself, like really, so yeah. So yes, you can, like I said, I like to tell ladies who got PCOS, fibroids,
just hormonal imbalances, just
all of that. I say those because I know that affects African American women majority of the time. Ladies, change your diet. You can have children. Change. Don't eat what they tell you to eat. You need to go plant-based. That's a secret that nobody gonna tell you. Change your diet. I swear. If you want to go like juicing or you want to do smoothies, but I'm telling you, you need to overdose on green vegetables. Your body will allow. I know somebody who had PCOS. She had 2 kids. They literally they took a part of her uterus. The baby had 2 of them out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. I think that a lot of times people don't realize, but the connection of like just making sure like you have your nutrients, right? Just your base nutrients. And so it's a lot of things that you can literally reverse based off of your diet and nutrition and making sure you're getting your micronutrients and all that kind of stuff. So you spot on with that. So tell me this, as far as an outbreak is concerned, so you talked about some of the triggers, right? So how long does an outbreak usually last for?
It depends on how quick you can catch it. Okay. So I'm gonna use another analogy so it just makes sense. So like when you start to get that itchy throat, when you feel like a cold coming on, everybody got that, and you start taking medicine, it'll slow it down. It's like it kind of like push it back. Like, nah, your mama started giving you tea and your grandma started giving you, herbs. It's because it's like, no, we good. So now you're starting to fight it. So it's the same thing with herpes. Soon as you start to feel that tingling or the headaches or the aching or whatever, it's important to start your treatment, which most people treatment is antivirals. Now, me, I ain't against it. I'm so for it because it works for some people and it don't work for some. What I do want to say about the antivirals, it is not a cure. It ain't nothing but a bootleg babysitter. Literally a bootleg birth control. That's all it is. Because if you don't get it quick enough, it's going to full blown do what it's going to do. You're going to get pregnant with this thing, or you're going to drop the baby because you wasn't present. It's just the type of mindset. You got to, if you think of it like that, it's just very important to catch it when it starts. That's when the time that antiviral is best, because the antiviral is internal. It's focused on the virus only. It does not care about your symptoms. That's where I came in and I created products, which I can talk about.
So tell me this real quick. So as far as the antiviral is concerned, is that something that every time that you have an outbreak, you got to go back to the doctor, or do you just have like a prescription and you just refill it?
It depends on how your doctor rolls. What you can do is say, hey, doc, I want to have just some refills, and you can ask them to make you a couple of refills. Your doctor will typically give you a 500 milligram once a day or twice a day, depending on for 7 to 10 days, depending on how your outbreaks roll. Sometimes you got to go back, but I feel like you don't really have to go back and pay a copay. Just call in, tell your whoever you're talking, like, hey, I want to get a prescription refill. How can I do that without seeing the doctor? They already did it. And you just tell them, hey, sometimes you don't want to say herpes because if you still kind of scared, just say, I have HSV and I want to get a refill because I'm experiencing symptoms. And they're like, okay, no problem. We'll send you a prescription. So you don't have to feel like you got to pay a copay for your doctor to come get a piece of paper. Like, it's a waste of money. Or you can do Herp Alert. Herp Alert is really, really good. It's a company who literally lets you talk to doctors to get you some medicine. If you can't get to your doctor or you don't have insurance, they do it at a cheaper rate. Real cheap rate.
And what is it called again? Herp Alert?
And then just use my discount code Belize25.
Okay, we're going to drop that in the show notes for sure. So I know that since we're on the, in the same vein of like treatment options, I know that you have a line of products. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Girl, listen, I love it because I'm the first Black woman who has herpes, who decided to want to create products, and they're all natural.
But I'm really curious, right? So what are some of the biggest hurdles people face once they receive a diagnosis?
Nobody's going to want me. It's psychological. Herpes is more physical than it is. Herpes is more mental than it is physical. One thing your doctor will not offer you is psychological support. That's not their job. Their job is to treat you and see you. Now, you got to do the job to find me. You got to do your job to find your therapist or a counselor or a mental health therapist or something of that sort, to help you with your mental, because herpes is a mental issue. Because now you're thinking that nobody's going to want me, they're disgusted. Let me tell you why you think that, because you've been hearing it forever. Anytime you hear herpes, it's always negative. If I hear HIV, I don't hear negative anymore. I hear, oh, advancement. I hear, oh, we got it under control. I hear, I can live with that and be just fine.
I don't know if I think that HIV is still, it actually probably has more stigma attached to it than even herpes, in my opinion. Because it's kind of like, you think about it, when it first rolled out and even up until, recent, right? It's kind of like a lot of people have thought of it as a death sentence. And I know that
people use HIV and AIDS all day. I hear it all day. But that may be because of the circles I'm in, we don't talk like that. We're very educated within our circles. And most of us, and I'm going to say this, and this is why I say it's still a stigma. I'm not taking it. It is. Especially the contracting and how you feel and disclosing and things like that. But when I say stigma, you will not see anybody other than the baby ignorant behind, other than the baby stand on a platform and say something ignorant about HIV. Outside of that, you won't catch that anymore. Because people will come for your soul, because many people have lost family members to HIV. We all know, everybody at least know one person. You may not be close, but you at least know one person who probably lost their life or know somebody who's living with it and living fine. It's become, it's not as closed off and hiding anymore like we used to. I was so proud when Billy Porter came out with it, because at the end of the day, I understand why he didn't say that. In that era, he wouldn't have been able to work. Billy would where he is today if Billy had told his status. Because they accepted him because they thought he was a homosexual man and fine. And because back then, the time he was homosexual, gay guys were getting HIV like crazy.
Oh yeah, and dying from it like flies. Yeah, dropping like flies.
They would have stigmatized him so bad that he would not be Bill Porter in our brains. So I am kind of happy that he even sucked it up a little bit and able to do it now. But that's what I'm saying, where the stigma is still on platforms. People still able to say negative things about individual herpes with no remorse and no consequence, because the baby's in trouble.
Yeah, he should be in trouble, but the baby, that's a whole nother story. His name is the baby.
For that, I'm just saying, with that, HIV have got to a place where they will not allow it, because they've got systems in place to handle it. So people will rush in and say, hey, we'll take you to the side and educate you. We'll take you to the side and do this. We don't have that for herpes because we're scary. We are super motherfucking scary.
Yep. And that's why I appreciate you and like the creation of your platform, because you talk about it so openly, honestly, right? And I think that it's so important. And that's really, in alignment with the podcast. We talk about topics that are taboo, right? That people sweep under the rug or that are often woven in shame. And it's like, I appreciate you even more, because you like, shame can only live if you allow it. And you like, I ain't living in shame. And so
I just told somebody that the other day. I was like, shame is your problem, not mine. Okay? No shame in mine.
Right on. So you said the biggest hurdle is like that mental hurdle, right? When they receive a diagnosis. So before we started the interview, I was talking about how I had read an article maybe a couple of months ago, and it was talking about the increase of folks contracting STDs, particularly, women of color in this, 30, 40, and 50-year-old age group, right? And it's increasing. I'm like, why aren't people talking about it? And so I think that one of the things that I really want to ask you, especially, given your coaching aspect of the work that you do, is how would you suggest that someone go about disclosing if they have herpes with a partner or maybe a prospective partner? Because I think that that's one of the big challenges.
It's interesting. My clients are 30 and above. That's what I talk to on a regular between men and women, but majority Black women, that between 30 and above. And then when I get past, I was in Essence. And when I was in Essence, I talked to 40 and above, because, Essence is typically the mark 35 and above women. All of them were married or getting divorced and didn't know how to get back into the world.
Interesting. So So when you say they were married, so is that like like it's anecdotal data though, right? And so when you say they were married,
notice if you look at if anybody look at Essence is not for a young generation, and it's not for 30s. It's like 35 and beyond, because of the stuff they talk about is women who really are into their career. Women are caring about their children, their marriages. It's like information for women, mature women. And not saying other women not mature, but it's just, you can tell where these women heads are based off the information they share. So I talked about dating. It's so funny. I talked about dating in Essence, and I was just, the mental turmoil, especially African American, when we believe we're already disconnected from our men. Let's be honest. We don't know how to talk to our men. We don't know how to love them. We don't know how to get to them. They know us, but we don't know them. All we taught is be cute, cook and clean. Like, literally, don't fit in the age break. That's how they were raised. They wasn't taught how to get to his heart and how to get him to get comfortable with talking to you and things like that. So most of these women went into dating with no level of communication, like healthy communication with a man. So now when it comes to finding out you have a diagnosis, how can I talk to somebody about something when I already don't know how to talk to you about the basic things? I'm already scared that you're not gonna like me. I'm already scared that you're not gonna want me. I'm already limited with how many men are left. So like, I don't know how to do this. So the biggest thing I always tell ladies, before you date, you must accept yourself. You should not be dating and you don't love you. You can only love as much as you love. That is a principle. That's the main principle in the Bible. That's the main commandment. And we neglect it all the time. You love more people than you love yourself. You are out of line and you are out of order. You have to love yourself first. Stop trying to be with somebody. They're going to treat you how you treat you. What you see is what you do.
Yep. My mama always said, you teach people how to treat you.
That means teach yourself how to treat you. Sometimes it takes longer than we want it to be. But if you want to be in a healthy relationship is based off what you do to yourself and what you're trying to other person to do to you. They only going to do what you allow. We hear it all the time, but we don't really understand how. It's because that's what you do and that's what you're teaching them through your behaviors with yourself and what you allow them to do to you. So biggest thing is, number one, accepting yourself. When it comes to accepting yourself, it comes to a place of I got it and my life don't end. I got it, but my life don't end. You're not herpes. My name is Belize 5. My name is not herpes simplex virus. People study the virus. Why? It's a virus. It just wants your body. It didn't ask you to name it. It's like, I just want a host. Thank you. That's all I want. And I'm going to keep on doing what I do. It don't want you. It just want you as a host. And some people just embody the negativity and misunderstanding that herpes come with. Herpes is very, very negative. And when you get it, you feel negative. Automatic. You hear me? I'll say automatic. So you got to separate yourself from herpes and just say, I have it, but I'm not it. And that takes some time because so many women that got low self-esteem already, they're dealing with depression already, they're dealing with things already. So this is the icing on the cake. I always say herpes is the icing on the cake, So the whole thing is now you got to deal with your past and you got to deal with your present. All right? Sorry. So that's very important to deal with. And then after that, when it gets to disclosing, when you disclose, it's not about them. Women, Black women, y'all care too goddamn much about everybody else but yourself. What do you want? What do you want? What are you looking for? Do he align with your life? Do he even want kids? Is he a good daddy? Is he a gentleman? You will miss all that over a diagnosis and get in a relationship with somebody who's going to beat you across your head. He told you he hit everybody. Because you weren't listening. You wanted to hear, you weren't listening for you. You was listening for it. Acceptance for it. Don't go in this disclosure seeking acceptance. You're going to this disclosure making sure you and that person can work together, and herpes is just a thing that comes with y'all. He's going to come with some baggage. You're going to come with it. It's just part of the bags. That's it. So I tell you, when it gets to disclosing, make sure you're in those places. I tell anybody, those things are more important than saying it. You think of disclosure like, police is going to tell me how to. I don't need to tell you how to. What I need to teach you is how to do this, because half of y'all going to skip that part. But when the time to tell it, it's just having a conversation, not making it a bad thing. Because if you go in and tell a man, I need to tell you something. He is already not going to listen to you. Don't ever tell no man, no color, that. You tell him I have to share something with you. It sounds like I want to give you something. Men are nasty, you know. So I was like, baby, I want to share something with you. He's like, oh, what you trying to give me? Ooh. They nasty. They just can't help it. I love them, but here's how they get down. So I think like feed off of the words that make them feel happy and, you know, things like that. You got to know certain words are negative to men and certain words are positive to me. So I learned that sharing is a positive word to me. So I was like, hey, I want to share something with you. And he's like, what up? Now he's perky because he's like, okay, she's showing her heart with me, you know. She said, trust me, you know, for her to share with me that she want to connect. And you'll tell him, babe, you know, last relationship, I know we don't talk about our past, but I like to talk about this because I think you should know. In my last relationship, I found out, or if I went to the doctor, I found out you need to tell your story. Don't just say you have herpes because he's going to think you're a hoe. Don't let him think that because herpes ain't got nothing to do with how many partners you have at all. You can have one partner or none. You can get it from your mom and your daddy. It has nothing to do with anything. You could have got it from your preschool friend. How did it make you a hoe? It doesn't. So we have it herpes with being promiscuous, which is incorrect. It's not correct at all. We shouldn't teach that. Sexual educators shouldn't even say that herpes is even considered an STI sometimes. Because at the end of the day, people assume, and you know, anytime you talk about sexual health, they say multiple partners increase your risk. You're right, but we need to just start saying a partner increase your risk. Interactions create your risk. Stop making everybody don't consider everything sexual. Everybody don't think oral is sexual. They think it's just affection. Or fondling or whatever. They don't think that's affection. They don't think that's sex. So that's very important to think about. But you'll just tell him your story and then you'll tell him this is what I have. I have herpes. Do not say H as nothing. He's going to think you said HIV. He is going to freak out. Say herpes. It's the easiest thing for him to understand. Stop trying to coddle it. It is what it is. You can't baby it. It is what it is. Herpes. I wanted to share that with you and then shut your mouth and don't say nothing else. When I say don't say nothing, don't say nothing.
And then also allow them to process what you just shared with them.
It's process slow.
And is this something that you suggest sharing in person or, you know, how do you suggest doing this?
Over the phone or in person is fine. Do not text nobody this at all. FaceTime is fine. I say do it the way y'all communicate the most, but I would tell, especially my women who are trying to cop out and not, don't send nobody this personal information through a text. We know what type of world we're in, an exposing world right now. This is not the season to put, you don't know who don't like you. You don't know who you pissing off, okay? Some people are offended by you and you don't realize it. When females get their feelings involved, you get your feelings hurt, okay? We get too involved without asking enough information. So my whole thing is, I say no later than 3 months. Most people ain't gonna make it past a month. Let's keep it real. Some people are gonna fall off in the next 2 weeks because people get inconsistent and you don't have time for it. So 3 months give you a good, okay, we getting to know each other. You know, we don't spend a good time together. We're not intimate, no kissing, no funneling, no oral sex, no nothing.
You said no kissing?
Nope. No, nothing.
No kissing for 3 months?
And this is the thing, I said no later than 3 months. Because if you want to be, my thing is, I say this because what we tend to do is do stuff and then want to backtrack and tell nobody. A man is going to be hella pissed at you if you had information and you did not share. He's going to feel like you did it on purpose.
Got it. So, I mean, so then it kind of like, so when you said no kissing, it's kind of like, that's what people do, right? Sometimes people kiss on the first date.
We shouldn't be doing that. We don't know. I don't know you. See, what we've been doing is backwards. We've been taught to act and not communicate. We are learned to act and not communicate. You don't even know what risk you're putting yourself in. Every time you can have herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, all in your mouth. Don't let them have HIV. They not taking their medicine, so they don't know, and they got to cut in their mouth. You don't know. We don't think about it because we're like, oh, well, if they got it, they wouldn't do nothing. That's the problem. Most people don't know. They don't know. So we got to go who don't know. It's really a lot of don't knows. A lot of people who have it, they just be by themselves. You're like, why they been by themselves for years? They isolate. They say, I don't want nobody. They say these compared to that person who don't know. They willy-nilly. They don't think they're gonna happen to them. So my whole thing is, when you go into dating anybody, men and women, we got to have self-control. It ain't nothing wrong with flirting. I'm one of the biggest flirts you will find. And I'm not putting my mouth on you. I don't know where you been yesterday. I don't. So my whole thing is, I'm not saying waiting for 3 months. What I'm saying is, you got a 3 month span to get to know this person enough to determine if y'all want to, where y'all going to be. If that's just going to be sex partners, I'm not judging you. Been there, done that. I've done it. Make sure that's agreed upon. If y'all want a relationship, it's agreed upon. Y'all don't have to officially be an official relationship. I'm going to say this because a lot of people feel like 3 months, I need to be together. Y'all, sometimes it's too early. Just say we are seeking to see we can be exclusive, but this exclusive is not officially together. It's just us. It's giving ourselves more time to get to know each other, and later down the line we can make officially if we're going to be together. Because I think we're not being taught that exclusive is not I'm with you. We've been taught wrong in a sense. It's like, I just don't let anybody in so I can get to know you alone. And nothing else is in my ears. Dating is I date multiple people until we become exclusive. And then a relationship is this is it. Done. We don't got to know each other. But if we learn how to go through the stages, we can determine if the person for you, because you may get exclusive and you see too much. You're like, whoa, I don't like you. But some people, we get into that exclusive, get settled, get locked in, get committed. You don't like them, but you don't want to leave because you don't committed yourself to somebody and you didn't know them enough yet.
Mm-hmm. Girl, you over here dropping gems. I think that's on point right there. That's on point. So along those lines, do you think that is there a such thing as saying something too soon?
No, absolutely not. I can say for me, I have no choice. This is what I do for a living. I can't I do. First thing you do when you meet somebody, hey, how you doing? Y'all get to talking. So what do you do for a living? I can say, oh, I'm a life coach. Now, I don't done it because I just want to see what's going to happen. I like to do trial and error with different men. I do that just to see where their head's at first, and then I'll share information later. But everybody like to follow you on social media, so you can't hide everything. They're going to look you up.
Oh yeah, they're gonna Google you and all that. Because if you don't, you gonna do it to them. So why would they do it to you?
Your Instagram instantly. I will go to my friend to find you. I just did that to somebody. I literally, he told me he had his Instagram, but he didn't tell me. I went through my homegirl, which is her husband best friend, and I literally boom, found follow. Got you, bro. Like, you keep it up every day. I'm serious.
No, I feel you. So I'm real big on like community support groups and all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering, like, I'm just curious to know, are there like dating websites for people who have herpes? Yeah, she's rolling her eyes. You guys don't get to see this, but
it's trash. It's trash. But this thing is, stop trying to date within and just date. You're copying yourself out. You're gonna miss out. If you that scared to disclose, then you don't need nobody. You need to do the work I said that most of y'all will not do, which is get to help you to get the work done. That's accept yourself and love yourself. I have no problem getting no man. They are in the DMs. Heavy. I have a lot of sex in my life, y'all. I'll probably have more sex than y'all, and y'all older than me. With herpes and without it. It didn't stop no show. Honestly, man, was the fact that I was so bold and told him, it was like, man, that's sexy. Men love confidence. They love it. They were like, she owned her crap. And so if it happens, I can't get mad. She was owning it. Men love who own it.
And you still have your confidence. And I think that that's even more powerful. Men love a confident woman, right?
Yeah. I say this to any woman. And I say this for my women who are struggling with their insecurities, but you cute, okay? You wonder why he picked her and not you. Her confidence is on 1,000. So you may not see it, but he sees it. Just because you cute don't mean nothing. Men love confidence. Yeah, he want eye candy, baby. He do. But the confidence, men are more attracted to your character than we know, especially Black men. We don't like to hear it, but it's the truth. Yeah, they may, be with the girls because she cute, whatever. But if you get into conversations talking to men, and ladies, I really want you to get among, listen to men speak, and they being vulnerable, you'll realize, man, I'm looking for a chick who really this and she that. He's looking for characteristics. And if you want characteristics, look at his mama, because that's what he's looking for. Because that's what he was raised with all his life. 40, 50, 18, 20. That's all he knows in the women. Look at the women in his life. If you don't align with them, you ain't her. Because he's looking for those characteristics. He's not looking for how she looked. He's looking for characteristics because that woman fed into his life.
Yep. The characteristics, the values that are important to him, all those things. Yep. Absolutely. So tell me this, Belize. I know that so you have your coaching that you do, you have the products that you sell. But do you also have like a support group or?
Yes, I do have a support group. It is a very exclusive group. It's not as big as my platforms. Most of my platforms are between 18 and 20,000 people and more. Sometimes get millions of people watching it. But this group is really exclusive. It's only 1,600 of us. And I like it like that because it keeps, yes.
Girl, that's a lot of people. 1,600. You have built a community of women. Like, come on, what?
No, I say it in that way because have you been in groups? It's hundreds and hundreds of thousands. It's too much. And I love to keep the group intimate and keep the respect there because I don't monitor my groups. I do, but I don't hold grown people hands other than you working with me. If you're in a support group, you're not here for me. You're here for the group. So I let them govern each other. And I did real good with a foundation of how we love each other, we respect each other, and we apologize and we try to be mindful of each other. So these ladies literally counsel each other through whatever.
And so if there is someone who would like to be a part of your group, how would they do so? Well,
you can go to my Instagram. Number one, follow my Instagram. So that's Coach Belize. And then you'll hit the link and it's right there. And it's only for women only. Only.
Mm-hmm. Only for women.
On Facebook. And I'm going to say it is a private group. Nobody's going to see it on your timeline. I like to tell people that because you're scared. You're not. It's an open group enough that you can find it. But even if you found my group, you got to know me. It say you're referred by Belize Spivey. You got to know who Belize Spivey is to be in this group. And the only people you're going to see in that group is the people that you know. Now, if you're that nervous and you see somebody in there, you can create another group. I have many ladies who create other pages just to mask themselves because you don't know who don't like you. So I ain't against it. So it's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, you can just put in the intro, like, got another page, new page, because, just for comfort level. And that's fine. I never want you to feel like you have to be forced to use your main page. You don't. Okay?
Awesome. So for women who are listening to this, so we have your awesome Facebook group, this VIP exclusive, right? But what are some of the suggested resources and tools for women who are living with herpes that they can add to their toolkit?
Me? So I have a YouTube channel that has over 300 and some videos.
Okay, so we got your YouTube page.
Yeah. You'll go to my YouTube. So that's Belize Spivey as well. You can find me with ease. Make sure you like that too. And then look up Herpes Can Never on Instagram. That's where every herpes activist is under one umbrella.
It's called Herpes Can Never?
Could never.
Could never. Is this a hashtag or is this an actual page?
It's an official organization. It's ran by Shayna Shingleton. And
I've seen her. Yes. She be making all of the funny reels and stuff. She's hilarious.
Like, I love it because Shayna do what I don't do. She's super relatable. She's super funny. She keeps it real. Plus, Shayna's younger than me. So it's just, she keeps it very much, this is our time. And Shayna's amazing. I'm so proud of her business partner, Amber. And they're building a huge platform at Herpes Can Never. So I'll tell you, please follow them because they're about to do some major stuff. And all of us are going to be under one umbrella.
Oh, that's super dope. Super dope. Okay, awesome. So listen, I'm going to do a quick fire and I'm gonna ask you a series of questions and whatever first comes to mind, shoot it, right?
Okay. All right, ready.
Okay. All right. Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
LA or Miami?
LA, I'm about to move there next year.
Winter or fall?
Fall.
HBCU or PWI?
Both. I did both. I can't take. Did both.
Therapy or prayer?
Therapy. I do pray, but I've been in therapy. Okay.
Well, you believe in therapy. All right. Mm-hmm. Beach or the lake?
Beach. Lake's so nasty.
Rain or snow?
Rain. I don't like to be cold.
Would you rather redo the last 5 years or fast forward 5 years?
Fast forward. I want my husband and my new baby.
All right, so that was awesome. That's it for the quick fire. And it was hilarious. So listen, Belize, Queen, I am so appreciative of your dope platform, the work that you're doing, and just the humor and the joy that you bring to this. I definitely want to say, I think that was one of my most favorite interviews. So Queen, keep doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your incredible advocacy work in this field. I'll be sure to leave all of the links and all of the wonderful resources that you shared on today in the show notes. Is there anything else that you want to share?
The only thing I want to share is that if you heard me today, you're responsible for the information I gave you. It's no reason you should go back out here and not move accordingly. I don't care if you're married. Move accordingly. Go in a room when y'all doing those talks and say, babe, you know anybody who got herpes? Or you've ever heard of it? Because you'll be surprised that your partner don't know. What they don't know, you don't know. Y'all on the same level. Make sure you have these conversations. They're uncomfortable, but they're healthy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And with that, we out. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, be sure to follow or subscribe to the show to make sure that you never miss a new episode. And also be sure to share the episode or podcast with another queen who might benefit. And before I go, I need your help. Please be sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review wherever you consume your podcast. This way, more women are able to find the show and access the information that we share here. Also, if it's on your heart to buy me a coffee, any support that you're willing to provide to help me sustain this podcast is greatly appreciated. In the meantime, you can always follow us on all social media platforms at The Sister Circle Podcast, as well as via the website, thesistercirclepodcast.com. With love, Faith.